Hi Blender fans, join me as we take on the challenge of creating a super realistic poppy using the magic of bump maps in Blender. In this video you'll learn to create a stunning lifelike poppy in Blender, all while enhancing your modelling skills with the bump map. Many artists struggle to add depth and realism to the models, but today we're going to tackle that by effectively using bump maps. Feel free to download the texture. This is in a link below in the description. So, modelling the poppy. The key to realism in 3D modelling is understanding how to create the illusion of detail without actually modelling every little feature. Bump maps allow you to do just that. They let you simulate depth, texture on a surface, making our models look far more detailed than they actually are. If you enjoy making things, then subscribe, like, and of course watch till the end. To make the bump maps work effectively, the texture you choose is crucial. It needs to be high resolution and full of fine detail. A low quality texture simply will not do and give you the depth you need. So make sure to choose a texture with plenty of intricate detail for the maximum realism. Our poppy, so we're going to delete the cube because we don't really need that. And what you can do is, for this tutorial, you can download the texture that we'll be using, and that can be found in the link below. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a image, and this is going to be a background image, and this is going to be this one that you can download, poppy texture, and we're just going to actually use this to make our poppy. I'm just going to move this up. Once the image is actually centered in there, we can actually lock it into place by hitting the actual filter up here, clicking on this arrow, which then means you can actually deselect this. So I'm going to go on the image and make it so you cannot actually select the image, and then we can actually lock it off again. So we're going to add in a mesh, and the mesh it's going to be quite low poly, which is very handy when you're doing nature scenes. It doesn't mean we have to lose everything when we're making this nature scene. So I'm just going to go on proportional editing, which is just by hitting this point here, and then go into edit mode, select the top point, press the 1 key, and I'm just going to move this up G and Z and just move it up. As you can see, it just moves the point up there because the influence ring has not been done. So Control Z to undo, put the influence, and G and Z, and just move it up there. You can scroll your mouse wheel around to actually make the influence ring go up and down. It's entirely up to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually make the shape of our poppy. Just going to delete the vertices on this bottom point. Pressing the Alt key down allows you to actually select something, and we're looking from the front, and I'm just going to move this down G and Z like that. So I'm just following the actual shape of our poppy. I guess it's the seed pod when the poppy has actually finished flowering, but I'm just going to scale it up like this, and reducing the influence ring means that you can actually affect it in different ways, so you're actually only affecting part of your image. So I'm just going to scale this up, take the influence ring down. As you can see, we're making that kind of shape just like that, and just scale it like that, and just scale it just like that, and we've got our center of our puppy. And what we need to do now is, you've got all the feathery bits that actually stick out on our puppy, so we'll make them part of this model. E to extrude and scale this up like that, which makes this, and we can just G and Z and move it up, E and S and G and Z and E and S and G and Z. So that there is going to be our poppy feathery parts. It might be a little bit big, but what we can do is actually use our influence to actually scale it all down if we so wish, and G and Z just to move it down, and we've got our poppy shape there. And to make our actual stem of our puppy, we might put some bends into it later on, but what we're going to do is just G and Z and just have it go straight down at first. Oops, as you can see, E and Z just to actually put it down there, and I'm just going to add some loop cuts to this. So select that, Control and R, and just add a few loop cuts like that. So we've got our poppy just down there, looks a bit like a plunger. I'm just going to shade smooth this, and as you can see, you've got some actual things that have gone wrong with the actual shading on there, so this can be easily fixed. So go into edit mode by pressing the tab key, A to select all, go into mesh and normals, and then we're going to recalculate the outside, and that should have fixed the actual problems that we actually have on our poppy so far. So we've got our poppy stem, and now let's add our petals. So I'm going to add a mesh, and this what I'm going to do is add a UV sphere like that. Make sure the influence rings off, scale in the Z, G and Z just to take this up. I'm just going to put it to about there, and this is going to make our poppy. So just select this. As you can see, this is actually quick and dirty modeling and just vertices, and we're left with this. Pressing the L key will select this ring, and I'm just going to separate this from the other model just for now. So by loose parts, and as you can see, that's bled through a bit on there, but what we can do is actually move it slightly down. G and Z. Select the outer ring and move it slightly down until we see that center point reappear, just like that. So we've got our poppy, and this poppy, this is going to be 2 petals, and we're going to actually put on another 2 petals. So I'm just going to shade smooth this. Shift and D will duplicate our object, and we can actually G and Z just to move it up like that. So now we've got actually 2 petals. So we've got our, I'm just going to select these 2 and just scale them down a little bit, because I think that's just a little bit too big. So this is going to make our poppy. So we've actually got the texture, but we haven't got it installed yet. Now this can be found in a link in my community tab. It can also be found underneath this video, and a nice resolution link can be downloaded from Pixlr from my channel, because I put some things there. So if you want to download the high resolution image, you can do. I'll just let you do that for now, and we'll just pause there. So having downloaded the image, what we can do now is attach this to our poppy. So I'm just going to add the image to our poppy. Now let's just join these all together. So I've got all those selectors, and I'm just going to actually join them together. And then new image, and we're going to go to image texture just like that, and open a image texture, our poppy texture, poppy text, and as you can see, we've now got our poppy texture that we actually use to guide us in making things. So we've got that, and let's start assigning things. So select your top ring like that, go into shading, and this has got a transparency in it, so you can actually go into shading and just put the alpha into the alpha, and as you can see, some items have now gone see-through, and we'll start colouring this in. So press the 7 key, and we're looking for the top from the top. So the first thing we need to do is attach the poppy petals to these 2 rings. Press the tab key to go into edit mode, L to select all, and then we can do U, and we do project from view, and this is where the actual texture can be manipulated. So we go into UV editing. As you can see, we've got the actual texture of the first ring. Select it, move it so it's in the center of our poppy, just like that, G, and then scale it up like so. And if we go into edit mode, render mode, as you can see, our first texture has been attached to our first poppy leaves. If we then select, go back onto layout, select the other part of the poppy by pressing the tab key like so, selecting a point, press the L key, look from the top, and we press the U key again and project from view and go back into UV editing. So as you can see, we've now got another ring there. So we A to select all, G to move it into the center of the other two poppy petals, and we'll scale this up until it covers our full poppy. So a little bit of a move to the left and move to the right, scale. So quite easily and simply, we're starting to get our poppy. I'm just going to separate this off. So going to edit mode, select this point here, L and P. I'm just going to separate into loose parts because different parts of this are going to be coloured in different things. So we can do this all in UV editing as well by pressing the tab key like so, just to go into edit mode, and we can select our top ring up here, grow our selection like that, and we can make this into this piece here by pressing the 7 key and U and project from view. So as you can see, we've got that ring there. I'm just going to move that up to here, scale it up just till it covers everything. And as you can see, we've got the feathery part of our poppy attached there. Select the top point on there. Just going to go plus, 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 like that. Go on to face select, and I'm just going to press the 7 key and U and project from view again. A to select all, and what this is the center of our poppy. So I'm just going to move this up to there, scale it down till it fills it completely. Move it there, and G just to move it there. Scale it down a little bit more, and we've got the center of our poppy like that. Pressing the tab key will take us into edit mode, and we can select a ring in the center here. Press the plus, 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 plus. I've gone too far then. So what we can do is actually try and select that again. So I'm going to go onto line select, select this point here. So when I get a ring, then plus, 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 just like that. Looking from the front, and I'm going to press the U key, project from view, looking at this, and as you can see, we've got that shape there. And I'm just going to select all, scale it down a bit, move it down into there, scale it up, scale it back down. So what we want to do is see green all the way around this, just like that. Tab. So we're now, as you can see, it's starting to look a bit like a poppy. But the actual base ring there, I just want to move it up slightly. G and Z. So it actually goes to there. Just to hide things. We've got our 2 poppy petals here. And lastly, we'll select this point down here. Like that. And just grow our selection. I'll do that again just to make sure, because I don't think I selected the back there. No, I didn't. Pressing the Alt key down, select that point there, look from the front, scale back, and plus, 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 plus. As you can see, we've got a little bulbous point there, which we can actually do at a later time. So you project from view. And we've got the actual stem. I've got the stem here on our texture, so we can just move this down there, rotate it until it more or less lines up, scale it down slightly, like that, just like that. So now we've got the actual base of our puppy done as well. And because we put rings on here, you can actually select the rings just by going onto the rings. So if we go a bit closer, but I'm going to select one in the centre here just to give it a bit of shape. Go on our influence ring, it's found here, and G and X just to move it over there slightly. And I'm going to do that because I think that looks quite organic, and it's up to you. You can actually make it go all sorts of different ways if you wish. As you can see, we've now got our poppy shape, but it doesn't look very real. It's very flat. So what we can do now is add some texture to this, and this is where the bump texture comes into its own, and it's quite easy to use. So we just go into the shading tab, got this. I'm just going to scroll out slightly, move that to the side there, and I'm going to add in a bump node. Right, you can press F3, which fetches up a search, and we can just put BUMP for bump. But of course, bump doesn't work unless you're actually in the petals themselves. So just add in a node, F3, click on here, F3, and because we already typed it in, bump will come up, and we take this and we put that from the normal into the normal, and then we go from the colour and we go into the height. And as you can see, we've now got our poppy texture attached, and you can see the little veins. Now it's a bit rough and ready, and that's where we can actually adjust the actual strength of it. So if you actually take the strength down to 0, as you can see, there's no shape to it. If you take it up to 1, it's too pronounced. So just take it down till you're happy with it. And I don't know if that's it. Yep, I think I'm happy with that. And of course you've got other ones, which is the metallic, so you can make it more reflective. And of course you can actually change the distance, which actually significantly changes it as well. And that's the distance of the shadows and how much they'll cast based upon the height of your texture. And as you can see, we've now got what looks to be quite a realistic poppy, and a bit of editing. If you want a bit of realism, as you can see, it looks a bit too uniform, so you can go into proportional editing, select the petal you want to select, which is the top or the bottom. Press the tab key to go into edit mode, select any point, and you can actually move the petals up and just distort them however you wish to distort them, and that's based on, of course, the influence ring. So then it gives a little bit of realism by just adding a bit of distortion into your poppy like that. And feel free to actually tinker around with the actual strengths and the distances that you wish, because nothing's right, nothing's wrong. It's all in the artist's eye and whichever way you want to do it. Right, say we wanted to actually put some leaves onto this actual petal. Now we could actually model them and take lots of time making them, or we could just do the simple way, and I could just select a line on this side, for instance, and just extrude, rotate, whoops. So we put the influence on there, so we'll just take that back off. Rotate, scale up, extrude, rotate, scale up, extrude. So we've now got a simple leaf, but it don't look very much like a leaf. So pressing the 1 key, we can project from view, go into UV editing, A to select all, whoops, not A to select all, did that wrong. Go into this, plus 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 plus. Press the 1 key to look from the front, U to project from view, and you can see that the actual leaf is up there, and I'm just going to G, move that to there, position it, scale it up, rotate it, so it covers, and G, like that. And as you can see, we've just had a simple leaf there. It's not very, it's a bit flat, but what you can do is actually just rotate things, move things, just to give it that bit of distortion that you get in the real world. And I think you'll agree that this looks quite simple and easy to do, and it's entirely up to you what you do and how much time you spend at this stage to actually make your copy in Blender. I hope you like this tutorial. It shows you how to effectively use bump maps, how to actually add textures, and how to make lots and lots of flowers in your scene. And all that's left now is just to actually stick these all together and join them together, and you can shift and D, and before you know it, you've got a field full of poppies to our petals. By following along, we successfully created a realistic poppy using bump maps. Hopefully you have a solid understanding now of how to use the bump maps in your 3D models. If you enjoy this tutorial, then browse my content for other interesting videos, and happy blending. Let me know your thoughts, and please leave a comment below.